Phrase searching, remember years ago in a book I did on what's the main thing, interviewing other people, teaching search, what's the biggest, most important thing you teach other people, and it has always been phrase searching. I'm pleased to say that more and more students, freshmen that come into campus, have actually heard of it, but I still find quite a few that it seems to be a new concept for. So even if you've been doing phrase searching for years where you put the quotation marks, there need to be double quotation marks around one or more words, and you're going to get those in exactly that order from whatever search system you're in. If anybody remembers back a couple decades ago, the way places like Dialog used to do this was with weird adjacency operators. When web search engines came up with the phrase marks, it was a great way to do it, simple to teach, simple to remember, and it still works in many databases, mostly. I find, and I've actually talked with search engineers about this, because it all depends on how you build that particular database as to how well this is going to work. So if you try it, for example, on your internal organizational search interfaces for the library catalog, something else, I find a lot of times it looks like it works until you get a longer or more unique phrase. And then you start getting the, well, maybe you meant this, or here we'll give you something, and you can't figure out where that phrase came from at all. So I do like to say, you know, we teach critical thinking, as does everybody on my campus, I think, but maybe we should talk about critical searching and thinking about those search results. And I sort of don't trust any system anymore to always do things accurately. As Mary Ellen said, Google is much more undependable than most of the commercial ones we buy. But I'm finding even with the commercial ones, sometimes I'm surprised when a simple phrase search with 2 or 3 words brings back, in essence, an or of all 2 or 3 of those words. And if the same search system, like Google, you try something on their website and then you do it on images, it doesn't necessarily always behave the same way. So I'll say most of the time it still works. More and more of other systems have it working as best they can. I am afraid it's going to diminish over the next few years. And the reason I say that is it's a pain to type in the quote marks on my keyboard, on my cell phone. It's a lot harder, and I'll skip it a lot of times. Google knew that from early on. When Google was first developed, they defaulted to a phrase match as having a higher relevance score than most anything else. Now, they moved a little bit away from that, but a lot of other search engines did not do that, and much of the time the search queries being typed in really wanted to be searched as phrases. And so Google still does that to a degree, but if you're trying to do a phrase joining with a couple other words, then it gets harder to interpret unless you put the quotes around it.